Welcome to Wuxiaworld's Teahouse Season 2. I'm your host, Yoj.
And I'm Toki.
Today, we're talking about the first 10 chapters of My Journey to Immortality Begins With Hunting, translated by Just Living JL. It's a novel that throws you straight into a maybe transmigration, definitely interesting system mechanics, and underlying romance that's faster than our latest food delivery.
And before we dive in, no, this is not a summary episode.
Okay, first, let's start off with damn, what a start! Like, compared to Reticent Blade, which, eases you in with the slow burn political scheming, My Journey to Immortality Begins With Hunting just really throws you into the deep end with names and existential confusion. Like, wow.
Yeah, I mean in TRB, the Reticent Blade, it's like here's a group of shadowy figures talking about an event that I have no idea about, nor do I know who these characters even are. Meanwhile, this novel is like, here's Zhao Yun. He's probably dead, but also alive, and boom! He wakes up in another guy's body. Truck-kun strikes again.
And he just accepts it. Like, imagine waking up in an unfamiliar place, unfamiliar body, and instead of freaking out, you just roll with it. Like, no questioning reality, no inner monologue about what is happening to me. Just nothing.
I mean, I would be losing my mind, where am I? Am I dead? Is this the afterlife? But meanwhile, Zhao Yun's like, new body? Kind of skinny. Cool. Moving on.
Maybe it's because he wakes up with memories of the owner's body into his head, flooding into his brain. Does that make sense? But it's interesting that the merge of two different memories and habits is so natural that no one questions it. When he wakes up, there's that girl and she's like, hi, we're almost out of money.
I mean, if there's two personalities sticking it out, maybe one dominates the other, because there should have been a POV switch. We start with a narration in Zhao Yun's perspective, but before we can even settle into his perspective, the narrative shifts to Li Yiyuan, the guy whose body he just woke up in, but then he's still thinking in Zhao Yun's mind. So it's just
not gonna lie,
Li
that
Yun's
definitely
memories
confused
there.
me. Yeah, that confused
It
the
was a
life
bit
out of me
confusing.
until I just rolled with it, like our main character.
And also, can we talk about how we immediately get thrown into a relationship? Chapter 1, and they're already sleeping together. Actually, one reader, Flat Tire, he commented, "Enter the new world with a bang."
He really did. He really did. The TRB readers are here waiting to chapter 20 to get a bigger picture of what's happening in the novel. And with this novel, My Journey to Immortality Begins With Hunting. It's nah. We're skipping straight to the juicy parts of slice of life.
Definitely not a slow burn kind of
Nope.
novel, which makes sense since the genres like fantasy, cultivation, lit RPG, Xuanhuan, and action.
Yeah, speaking of lit RPG, can we talk about the system? Because out of all the system novels that I've read, this one was special. I've never seen stats raised like this one.
Yeah, and I was actually, when I was reading the novel, one thing that really stood out, and I was mind blown. Because
What?
JL, the translator, Just Living JL. Okay, I probably gotta ask him, is her name JL because it's Just Living, or
It has
is
to
it
be.
Just Living? And JL is your initial for your real name. Anyways, back on track. So I did tell him it's super super awesome. This is the first of its kind in Wuxiaworld and probably the last of its kind. Because usually system novels have character stats rising after fighting monsters, but here, it's usually just a wall of text, right? You kill the
Yeah.
monster, you gain experience with stat points, blah blah blah. But then here in this novel, JL just gives us an image. It's like those lit RPG stats.
It was so much easier to read with the image. I really appreciated that.
Yeah, it was super, I really, really, whoa, mind blown. But anyways, aside from the design of the stats, one thing that stood out was the main character, Zhao Yun, or Iwan. He gained 5 stat points for spending a harmonious night with groaning, grunting, and moaning with Yan Yu.
Okay. There was no grunting and groaning, okay? It was all very classy and off screen. It was just, they spent a harmonious night, off screen. But this does make me
And
question
can't
the
the guy
genre.
have some imagination?
Oh, okay. Sorry. But, going back, most systems are about combat, survival, or cultivation, but this one, basically saying, congratulations, you're in a committed relationship. Here, have some stats.
I find it interesting how men and women could have a very different point of view because that's not how I saw it.
How did you see it then? Clearly grunting. What is it? Grunting and
Well,
moaning.
the way I saw it was like, oh, good job, you finished cardio exercise.
Oh, so he did gain points through exercise and movement then. Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, moving on. Uh, the mechanics are weirdly specific, like just flirting, no points. Daytime cuddles, no points. But at night, that's when the magic, the mana gathers. That's when the magic and the stats happen.
I mean, flirting and cuddles aren't exactly exercise. You're not burning any cardio. Maybe that's why. Boy, but man, the poor girl, she wakes up thinking like, wow, my husband has changed overnight. He's so different now. But negatively. She just has no idea that he literally got buffed in his sleep though. The poor girl.
I mean, what's more pitiful about her is that she thinks he's Yuan.
I mean, how does this work? Technically, he's still his body. If he has his still memories, is it still Li Yuan? Or is it someone different? Because now he has two sets of memories.
I mean, we're still in the early parts of the chapter, right?
That's true.
And it kind of seems like how the novel plays out is, like you said earlier, there's two personas in one body. So probably we will see more of it later, more developments, but probably the MC himself is confused. He's so confused to the point that he's calm right now.
Is he? Because the way I was reading it was okay, he accepted the change. Now he is this new person, kind of just cutting off his old life with the POV shift. That's kind of how I took it. But you're right, we're only in the beginning, so maybe things will change in the latter half. Or in the middle. Who knows?
But you know what? When I mentioned the podcast to JL, and he was like, "Oh, I'll definitely check it out," and I can just imagine him reading this, and of course he's way ahead of us, right? Because he's the translator, and he's probably thinking yeah, I guess all you want is all wrong. Nice guess. I'll give you that. I'll give you E for effort.
E for effort. Isn't it A for effort?
I mean, last time I checked, effort starts with an E, so... But anyway, going back to poor Yan Yu. Okay, imagine if relationships work like that in real life. Oh, you were emotionally supportive today. Congrats, you leveled up in endurance. Or
maybe
whatever.
not endurance. Well, the way you were going up, maybe something else. Because endurance would be, sleeping. In any case, if what you just said, you're emotionally supportive and you level up in endurance, some people I know would just eternally stuck at level 1.
Well, I like it noted that I'm putting in a heroic amount of effort not to ask you about your romance life since I did have plenty in season 1.
Thanks. We can talk about point allocation instead. Yeah, let's talk. We'll move away from that. We did plenty of that in season 1. We'll talk about this instead. So this is
I'm just gonna ask Kun to put a sad violin music here or something.
Well, maybe I have a very robust romance life. Who knows? Y'all don't know.
Who knows?
I don't know either. I don't know either. Anyways. This is more the normal system that we know I think, the normal ones. At least in the Healing Solaris Cleric,
Clerk.
the MC Kai is like able to divvy up points and then add them to whatever he wants. So it kind of seemed normal that he was able to put points where he wanted. So I think that's normal.
Yeah, but let's focus on this journey to immortality begins with hunting before you get too focused, and you get sidetracked.
Am I too focused trying to sidetrack? Am I getting sidetracked or am I trying to sidetrack you? Anyways, yeah, so here in this novel, you can add points to different skills to increase their level. So like you can go from basic archery to intermediate archery just by like adding in 10 points. That sounds awesome.
And you get those points by spending a quote-unquote harmonious night.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, let's move away from the romance aspect, considering the genre we spent more time than necessary on it.
True. Let's talk about the divine ability that he has, eternal youth. Because the moment I read that, I was like, oh, is he an immortal now?
I mean, that's probably where the title came from, but when I read that ability, the first thing that popped into my head was Twilight, because they keep their youth and they'll never die of old age. So, yeah.
What would you do if you were immortal, right?
Hopefully not repeat high school over and over again, because that seems terrible. You?
Probably go back to high school if I listen to P. Diddy's music. No, let's scratch that out. Yeah, I think let's just put a bleep there.
We'll see.
Okay, enough joking around. Let's talk about something more serious, as serious as we can get. Like ancient life sucked balls.
Yeah, like, oh my god, I would literally die if I were in this situation. Kind of suck. Because, the food, I have never felt more grateful for my fully stocked fridge.
Right. Like in modern times, the worst thing that happens is that you, I don't know, forget to defrost the chicken, and now you have to take order a takeout or order food. Meanwhile, in this book, people are out here selling their own children just to get a handful of grains.
Yeah. And it's not even like good grains. It's like millet with like beans and husk. And it's just cooked into plain unseasoned mush. No salt, no oil, just sad, wet, mushy grain. And that's like their good meal.
Meanwhile, Zhao Yun, our MC, wakes up in this world and is like, oh, I guess I live here now. No questions, no complaints, bro just accepts it.
Like, it's wild. But the moment that made me realize ancient life truly, truly sucked was the funeral feast.
Yeah, I mean, that was a part where a dude dies, and then instead of mourning for him, a scumbag who most likely had a hand in the death was like, wow, free meat. And then they literally invite themselves and start eating everything, right?
Yeah, yep, that's definitely something. But like, you forgot something. They didn't just invite themselves, they also invited others to this party of like this poor dead guy. And imagine instead of like paying respect with like funeral money and stuff, you go with like a bowl and chopsticks, especially in this ancient time where food is scarce. Like, what?
But that's not really the worst part of it. But probably let's save it for people to, read and feel the emotions themselves.
That's true. But people who are gonna read it, it definitely shows how cutthroat survival was in this time. Like, people aren't being evil for the sake of being evil. That's just how the world is. You eat or you starve. Poor people.
Yep. Exactly. In this world, you're either strong enough to fight back or you're a free meal ticket.
But this novel really makes you think. If we got suddenly dropped into ancient times, how long do you think we would last? How long do you think I would last?
You? Not long at all. Like, let's be real. No Wi-Fi, no running water, no snacks. That's already three strikes, you know? And then to make things worse, there's like no books. Books are freaking expensive back then. I don't think you survive a day.
Yeah, I'd be gone day one. I'm really spoiled. Like I'm spoiled enough to know that I'm picky with my water. So yeah, I'd probably pick dehydration over drinking water from the river. So yeah.
Yeah. And imagine going from eating whatever you want to suddenly surviving off of like sad porridge every day.
And
And
it's not even
like
like
the only
flavored,
seasoning.
seasoned.
Yeah, but the only seasoning you can get is like your sad tears salting it up.
I would
And
have to
I
cry
wouldn't even
so
get to the
much.
cultivation part, you know. I just curl up and die out of sheer disappointment. The food's so sad.
Yeah, we would fail. And like, I mean, there's that hunting part, so maybe, but I mean, yeah, it is ancient world, so I was expecting hunting with the bow and arrow, but needing to get a permit, like, guys, the food is already scarce, and now there's bureaucracy. Come on, give me some way to live.
Yeah, you're probably gonna complain about the paperwork and just like choose to die of hunger than apply for the paperwork to get a hunter's permit. But then like the permit itself is quite scarce and quite rare. Like, come on, permits everywhere are very scarce and rare.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know.
Okay, but
I guess.
but do you think would either of us actually be able to hunt something?
Um, no. Yeah, no thinking about this. Absolutely not. Like, if you gave me a bow and arrow right now and told me to catch dinner, I'd probably shoot myself in the foot before I try like, getting a squirrel. There's just no way.
Mm. And a funny thought just crossed my mind.
What?
We probably go to the mountains to hunt, and instead of hunting, we would be hunted because there's like other starving people and probably wolves, bears, and you know like how wolves and bears don't need a hunting permit, right? So like
No.
they're like they don't like corner you, and then you suddenly tell them like, sir, excuse me, where's your hunting permit? You're not permitted to hunt me.
You're not permitted to hunt me. And like, if food is scarce, that means like the animals are also competing with each other to like eat each other, right? They would just see me as prey.
Mm-hmm. But then one kind of interesting thing about the MC is that he starts off not that different from how most people would be when they go there. He is already a hunter, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
revealed from the start of the novel.
Yep.
But then he can slowly like power up, I would say, with the stats and all that kind of thing. But one kind of interesting thing that I saw was that in the start of the novel, he considered himself a failure because he was a butcher in his previous life, and like his friends were all
Wait, did I miss
successful
that?
and all.
What?
Did you?
I think
That was
I
like at
missed
the
that.
very first paragraph of the novel.
I think I missed that. I was just so focused on him being like, oh yeah, I'm in a different world, but that's okay. We're gonna live here. I think I
So
missed
he
that.
considered himself a failure because I'm just a butcher. Like my friends are so successful and I'm left behind. But then like he gets transported into this world, and then suddenly his butchering skills is super useful, and it's not even like an ability or something. It's just something he knew from his previous
That's
life.
so
Like, how cool is
true.
that, right?
That's so true. Like,
But so far the irony is it's like famine and like all going on, so there's nothing to butch.
yeah, you
The
gotta catch
butcher
the
has nothing to
animals
butch.
to like butcher, but no animals. So I mean, at least he can put points into his skills like archery, so he can go from basic to intermediate. So maybe he'll catch animals pretty soon. Who knows?
Who knows?
I mean, if it were me,
Okay, final thoughts.
yes.
Are you hooked or about it?
I mean, personally, it's fun and it's chaotic. It's more unpredictable than I expected. So, yes. And like, I'm hooked. One thing for sure, though, is this novel is definitely more my speed than traditional wuxia is. I don't think I'm smart enough for that. I like this novel better. Sorry.
Yeah, I do agree with you. The speed is really like zoom, zoom, zoom. It's like I think the author was like, okay, I know you guys press F5 daily, so I'm just gonna give you all the bits and just build the story, while
It was so
revealing things
fast.
to you all. But then, I don't know, like the story itself is very interesting. I do like it, and
Mm,
so far I've caught up. And
mm.
I was telling JL in the comments like, we need more chapters, bro.
Aw, man, sucks to
and
be
then
you.
And then he said, like, after the sneak peek, there's gonna be like huge dump of chapters incoming. So I don't think we will have a shortage of chapter anytime soon. And seeing how the story builds up really quickly and the author is like revealing plot after plot,
Mm,
I really think we have a winner here. Plus, don't forget the effort that the translator JL he put into it, like with the scene breaks. Oh,
mm.
you guys, if if even if you're not into like Xuan Huan novels or like power up, level up kind of novels, just take a look at the first chapter and take a look at the scene breaks. That's all I have to say.
So if any of this chaos sounds like your thing, go read My Journey to Immortality Begins With Hunting. It's fun, it's wild, and you never know what's coming next.
Hmm.
Bye.
And
Oh,
oh,
wait, no
okay,
bye.
bye.
No bye. What were you saying?
I just wanted to add that the power system is like the number game, and the author called it, or the translator called it, the shit baiting son of a bitch game.
I forgot about that bit. How could we not talk about that? That was so good.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So if you guys want to see some aesthetic stat windows and like a shit baiting son of a bitch game, this is the novel for you.
This is it.
Okay. See you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for joining us on Wuxiaworld's Teahouse. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to hit the follow button to stay updated with our latest releases. If you want more tea, hop over to our social media or Discord and send us an email if you want to spill the tea. We'll be back every Friday of each month, so check out our website, wuxiaworld.com. See you next episode. Bye!